I always leave a pen. And when I need one?
Good evening. I'd like to call the Town Council meeting of Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024 to order, please. Would Councilor Zambrello please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sue, will you take the roll, please?
Councilor Daly.
Here.
Councilor Carbone.
Here.
Councilor Clancy. Here. Councilor Jurek.
Here.
Councilor Rhodes. Councilor Zambrello. Here. Councilor Timbrow.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Forrest.
Here.
Mayor Lesser.
Here.
Thank you.
Moving on, we have no hearings tonight. The next item on the agenda is public comment. You have 5 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. Mr. Young.
Good evening, Robert Young, 20 Copper Mill Road. You know, at the last meeting, you had this quality of life discussion, and I know you tabled it. And, you know, looking back on it, again, I say you should expand it into some way of analyzing people's ability to pay, because I really believe that that's a quality of life issue. And you know, we have people in all different spectrums of income in this town. We have people of all different levels of age. We have a large community of people that are senior citizens, that are on limited funds, that survive somehow. But the fact is, as their taxes keep going up, it becomes more and more difficult for them. And I would think that that would be your discussion on how expensive you can make Wethersfield, when in fact you have so many people out there, all different levels of income, all different levels of age, and how it affects all of them. That's quality. On the other hand, I really believe in listening to what you have said at the last meeting. You know, you were talking about various rubbish along the streets and different things like this. That belongs to the department heads. It doesn't belong here. And it belongs really on the shoulders of the town manager. How many times I saw signs out, political signs, and also business signs during this election cycle that we just went through. And I believe I sent a message to the manager. And a day later, I went by the same area and the signs were still sitting there. And yeah, that's quality of life too. Yet it's a constant, nobody is going to clean it up. Council's not going to clean up political signs off the streets. You might do business signs, and I see still a lot of business signs around. But again, I really think you need to look at what people can really afford to in order to live here. It just keeps going up and up. I have friends that live in other states and other places who have high taxes as well. And it seems like everything is out of control. We need to somehow pull back on all of this spending. I mean, you go down to our town garage, and how many employees do they have on physical services? And look at how many vehicles, machines, that have wheels or tracks on them, and there's more than we have employees. You look at all these nice pickup trucks that we see around town. They cost a heck of a lot of money at the end of the day. Do we really need all that? I don't believe so. I think what we need to do is live within our own means. And thanks to our federal government with all this free money that we received, free money that now has devalued everybody's money that they have in their bank account or in their pocket. Think about that. And now there's more coming. And as our dollars diminish in value, I mean, I was just reading today where we were in the mid-70s until now, the dollar is only worth 13 cents from that date in the 1970s till now. It has devalued so much, 83%. Horrible. And that's because there's no control. You gotta have everything, don't we? And because we gotta have everything, and we cut out businesses when towns up and down the coast, up all over creation, are putting in turf fields, putting in pickleball fields. Don't they now have a pickleball field business down in Middletown? Yeah. Don't they now have something up in Windsor, Connecticut? You remember former O'Connor making this sign like this? We all remember that, don't we? In the Hartford Courant just this week, they're showing a picture of this. Up in Windsor, play soccer, all kinds of games, footballs. And those are the places that are going to be hurting because of the town's spending. Because you're going to take business away from them. I think our children belong up there, up in Windsor, playing on those fields and in those buildings that they're, whatever, those covered over things, as long as their parents take care of the funds that it takes to go there. And of course they provide beautiful restaurants, beautiful taverns, for the sportsmen who like to have a few
So you have
tournaments.
5 minutes, I'm asking you to summarize, please.
All that business is fine. But in here, you took away a lot of those businesses' opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Anybody else from the public wish to make a comment? Hearing none, we'll move on. Council reports. Does any councilor have a report this evening? No? Okay, hearing none. Council comments. Does any councilor have a comment? Councilor Burke.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick comment. On December 19th, we received an email from one of the residents on Folly Brookside Circle complaining about the fallen trees and water issues in the back of his house and tons of different issues. So that has been resolved quickly, and he asked me to especially thank the Department of Physical Services and Town Manager. He was beyond surprised and happy and to see how quickly it was resolved, how quickly it was done, and to them this was a real quality of issue response. So thank you all.
Thank you, Councilor Burke. Anybody else? Council comments? I have a few quick ones. The first one is want to wish everyone out there and my fellow councilors and town manager staff a happy, healthy new year. I'm excited about the new year, excited to work with this tremendous group. I like to look at quotes and find different quotes, and one I'm picking for tonight is that enthusiasm is at the bottom of all progress, and that's by Henry Ford. And I'm really enthusiastic about this group and about our year ahead. This is a scroll that says, in Japanese, it says, "We wish you a very happy new year." I can't read the Japanese. My wife actually can. She lived in Japan. But we got two beautiful, yeah, I'm just reading the English part. Two beautiful scrolls. One is over by Councilor Clancy, which maybe you can hold up so the fellow councilors can see it, and the public. If you can, and let me turn that maybe towards the, and what does that one say? It says inside, the English, you don't have to go. In the box is the English.
Read it, read it.
If you can read it.
It says, this suggests that if you always smile, good luck will come to you.
Oh, very
You always smile, good luck will come to you. So that is from our sister city in Japan, and we were just talking with our town manager about maybe we can send a nice gift from Weathersfield. So we will do that. But what a nice gesture by our sister city in Japan. So Happy New Year. The only other thing I wanted to mention to my fellow councilors and to the public is on January 10th, so that's next week, Wednesday, there will be a ribbon cutting at 11:30, for those of you that can make it, at Sora My Way, which is the new Italian restaurant on the Silas Deane Highway. I know some of you have been there, and it's a great addition to Weathersfield, but if you can make the ribbon cutting, again, it's Wednesday, January 10th at 11:30. And that's all I have for council comments. Moving along, town manager's report. Fred, Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quickly, before the break, I was able to join the mayor and our state delegation in a meeting with the commissioner at Connecticut DOT. That was a great opportunity for us to discuss with them the upcoming safety improvement project we have that we'll be moving forward with on the Silas Deane, get their input. They're going to assign an individual to represent DOT at all of our planning meetings for that and be very engaged in this process. He also talked about some of the other projects that they have in the works, some traffic signal improvements that they're going to make along the Silas Deane, also safety-wise, and the on-ramp and off-ramps for Route 91 on Silas Deane is also a major area where accidents happen frequently. For funds for both the stoplight cameras and the speed enforcement cameras. So the criteria for those applications will be coming out from Connecticut DOT very shortly, and we'll be reviewing all those and probably bringing forth a grant opportunity to you all in the very near future on that. And just finally, I'll also mention that we, the Deputy Mayor and Councilmember Timbrow had our first meeting of the Financial Resilience Committee prior to the break to kick that back off again since we have the new council in place. So we've begun that process of moving forward with some projects, and we hope to have some activity on it and too. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Town Clerk, Sue?
Okay, sorry, I'm trying to get this moved over here. Okay. The only thing I have for you tonight is pursuant to the Town Charter, Section 403, at the first Town Council meeting each January, a list of all contracts approved by the Town Council since January 1st of the previous year shall be submitted for review. So you all should have received a copy of this list tonight. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Sue. Moving along, we have no bids. Then item J, the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yes, sure.
prior to.
Yes, please.
Is this on the state approved list?
Sorry.
For this comes through the urban grant, correct?
The
Millwoods?
J1, yes, the Millwoods, it's completely funded through the urban grant. The bond.
Is it on the approved list?
Yes.
All right. If we can get a copy of that next meeting, that would be good. And really, it's tough for me to cast a vote tonight. We only have one bid. I know there was money approved under the previous council, but there's only one bid that we received for this, and I just find that hard to believe that they're the only one that does it. It's $100,000, $98,000 and change. I just think we should have more than one bid before we move forward. So I agree with the project, it needs to be done, you know, all of that. I just think to have another voice, another contractor come in, it just seems very high to me.
Okay, so just real quickly, in terms of the, yeah, I was going to say, but as a point of order, you should pull this item if you want to discuss it.
To talk about it?
Yes.
I'm totally cool, just say.
Yeah, I pull item J1,
And so we can talk about it.
yeah, and then we can talk about it.
So,
Pull it off the agenda.
All right.
So pull it from consent, not to pull it off the agenda.
You know, I want to be cordial, I just want to be cordial.
that's all good.
Yeah,
That's cordial.
And I think there's enough contract, maybe they're the lowest. They could be the lowest.
Okay.
It just seems awful high.
Thank you, Councilmember. Town Manager?
yeah, so we'll vote on the rest of the consent agenda first, because there was a motion in a second.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about J1 after that.
I didn't hear a
I didn't hear a motion
second.
or a second.
Should we make a motion to remove?
Oh, you cut them off, okay.
It's all good. Mr. Deputy Mayor?
I move the acceptance of consent agenda J2.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. What, I should say, anybody opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
All right, so J1,
Now it's on the table.
they did do a request for proposals. The firm that bid is the only one that bid to do a resurfacing. There were several firms that would have been happy to bid on a reconstruction, which would have been a much higher price. That is not what we bid on. Put out for RFP, what we did is we solicited the bids for resurfacing and basically reconditioning of the existing courts, and this is the only response that we received. So that's why you only see one. But
So there was an RFP.
there was a request for bids to a number of companies that we normally do for these things, and the other companies all said that if we were doing a reconstruction, they would bid, but they're not interested in bidding on a resurfacing. The jobs weren't big enough, essentially.
Counselor Bailey?
Content?
No, actually. Okay,
Speak.
I'm good.
You're good, you good?
Yeah.
You know, if you tell me that they went out to several contractors and none of them replied, I'll take it for your word.
And that's, I sat down and spoke with the director about it, Kathy Bagley specifically, and said, we only have the one bid. She said, we reached out to all of our regular bidders on these, and she said.
Any idea how many that was? 5, 6, 300?
Well, we have to reach out to at least 3, so I know it's at least 3. I don't know if it's 5, or I don't know how many there are that actually do this work in the area, but my guess it's at least 3.
Mr. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. Counselor Bailey does bring up a good point. When we see a one-time, one-item bid, this council is usually shy about accepting that straight away. So I am sharing in your thinking and the pause button, at least for this to even come off of the consent agenda. Mr. Town Manager, we probably had an estimate for the cost of the repair. What was our estimate, not the actual bid that came in?
I believe the total was around 100,000 that she put in there, estimating based upon past experience of doing these types of projects.
And it came in at the 98 too?
Yeah, it was pretty close to that.
Yeah. Would there be, if we did pause this, would there, what is that sort of turnaround to sort of go out again and come back? And can we do that in 30 days or 60 days?
I wouldn't.
Try to give it a shot, or are we?
I certainly wouldn't go 30 or 60 only because spring schedules. The idea is to get this done before spring.
14 days, for our next council meeting. Could we turn around and give it another go and see if
I
something changes?
honestly don't think there's many other companies we can ask for quotes, but we can, and so I can't answer specifically. I can provide you with more detail on the firms we did reach out to, if that is something that you all would like. But again, this is maintenance work. It's not construction work. Most of these companies that do this stuff are very specialized. So.
I could go, just sort of sitting here, I can go either way with this one. It came in below our estimated budget. Occasionally you see something that comes in and, it's like 70% more and there's one bid and you're like, you put the timeout button on it. I don't necessarily need to know more, except for the fact that I might be persuaded, and I'm looking for some other opinions around the dais, that if we could go out and solicit some possible more bids, or just knowing the situation that we're in, and we could have a turnaround by next council meeting in 14 days or so, if that's reasonable, and I'm not saying it is, I'm sort of asking.
Yeah.
That might be preferable, but I'm also not, if the council's feeling and the councilors here think that, well, it's below our estimated bid anyways, we should get this thing going, and the rest of it, I'm fine with that as well. But there is a pause button, I can recognize that, Councilor Bailey. And Mayor.
Any other council comments? Councilor Merrick?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick question. Are these advertised publicly, or are we just reaching out to certain companies?
Generally, we do advertise them. We list them on our website. For these types of specialized work, we do also reach out specifically to the ones we know will do it, because they might some of these industries are so specialized that they're not looking on their website all the time for this stuff, which is where it would be posted. So we actually do reach out to anyone that we know that does this work, done work for us in the past, to say, is this something you all are interested in bidding on? This is out there. A lot of times, it's workload, too. As, I'm sure Councilor Bailey can tell you, some of these companies, they're already booked through the spring, and they know we have to get this done in the spring, and they'll say, sorry, we're not going to be able to do it for you. And
Is this
that's part of
something
this.
Public Works can do some of the patching?
This is pretty specialized stuff, and the materials and everything that they work with for the court, so I would tend to say no, but...
Councilor Dirk?
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, if this is what we have done, I have no reason to doubt that. I would just like to see maybe in future that we get a little bit more notice, that we have time to go back and see if there are other options or not.
Sure.
But, I have no reason to doubt the work that was done by you guys. Thank you.
Further council comment? Councilor Rhodes?
One of my questions about it is, what is the time, how long will this resurfacing be successful before it has to be redone again? I know the courts and I know they're in really bad shape, and there's some question of, is repairing them at this cost the best decision versus replacing them at a higher cost with something that's going to last a lot longer? I don't know, I'm just curious.
Yeah, so it really depends on a lot of factors, obviously. So the use that they get, and then it's also the weather conditions and things that will take place over the time. But from the background report, the tennis courts were last done in 2016, and the basketball courts in 2006. So that gives you a sense of how long this kind of repair will last. Now, a complete reconstruction will last longer than that, but they're still going to need to be resurfaced periodically, just because of the conditions it's outside, so it's going to be,
Okay,
and
so
the
this
material on top.
resurfacing is within the range of, it makes sense that this is
Yes.
the next step before replacing?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Woods. Councilor Clancy?
No, I'm done.
No. Any other council comment? Councilor Mayor?
Was there any warranty guarantee when they did it in 16? Was it covered for 10 years, 8 years, 5 years?
I'm not,
Idea?
I don't have an idea about that, I'm not aware. And I'll be honest with you, Kathy offered to be here tonight, I didn't think this was a contentious issue at all, and I told her, stay home, there's no reason for you to be here at night, so that's why she's not here right now. She did offer to be here, I didn't see this as an issue, but I can certainly, it's up to the council how you want to move forward with this, so, and I can get whatever I can't answer for you.
Councilor Timbrell?
Just since it seems to kind of be like going, we don't really care to go one way or the other. Would it make sense to take it off, to be able to talk to Kathy and get a little bit more information, even just for precedent purposes, considering it is the one bid? And Deputy Mayor Forrest brought up a good point that typically we're a little cautious with that type of thing. I would be in support of that, just to get a little bit more information.
Thank you, Councilor Timbrell. Councilor Clancy?
What I was going to say before, she does say here specifically that it's the only company there is that does resurfacing rather than replacing.
Yeah.
So, I would be happy if the town manager could just check with her tomorrow and say, are you sure
Well-
about that? And if she is, I'm fine with it.
I asked her specifically, and she
Okay.
said, yes, they're the only ones that will do this work, and that's the only ones that bid on it, so,
I think we're making it too difficult, but
yeah, it's up to you all.
We don't have a motion on the table. We can entertain one to table, or we can entertain one to pass this. What is the council's pleasure? Councilor Zambrella?
I don't really have much to add. I feel like my questions have been answered by the discussion. I just want to say I would be comfortable moving forward with this tonight.
Councilor Burke?
Thank you. Just by looking at the construction industry right now, if all the work has been done by town manager and all the stuff, I would say let's move on, because getting a bathroom remodel right now, they take 6 months to get on the list. So I would rather move forward and trust that the work that they've done, and just make sure in future maybe we get a little bit more time. But I'll be in favor of moving forward and getting this done.
Thank you. Further, Mr. Deputy Mayor?
Put a motion on the table. I'm going to move to approve Hinding Tennis Court Company proposal to repair and resurface the Millwoods Park tennis and basketball courts at a cost of $98,280, and ask to get the floor back if it gets on the table, on the floor.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Council discussion. Mr. Deputy Mayor?
To the town manager, do you have any idea how long it took to sort of solicit these bids and sort of get them out? Like, did it take you 2 months to sort of do that, or was it, hey, we made, 5 phone calls or 10 phone calls and we put it on the website, or?
It really varies. In the construction industry, it does take, I don't know specifically.
Yeah. Okay. I tend, in general, we do pass, though, and we have many times, not often, but many times, one-item bids, just for background. And it's a pause button, we have a little bit more of a robust conversation. That's why I think this conversation is actually pretty fruitful. But I'm comfortable that it came in under our estimate, that we do want to get it redone for the playing season, and the construction discussion is in the back of my mind. If I had seen something that was 20% above our estimate, I might be a little bit more willing to pause it. So I think I can support the motion as it is.
Further council discussion? There's a motion on the table. Okay, let's call the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Moving on, item K, we do not have approval ordinance and resolutions. L, unfinished business, no. So we're all the way to item, is it? N1. N1, yeah, sorry. Citizen Recognition Award. So,
Put a motion on the table?
yes, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
I move to accept the recommendations of the Citizen Recognition Committee for recipients of the Key to the Town of Weathersfield Award and the Spirit of Weathersfield Award.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Councilor Carbone seconds it. Discussion on the motion. I will just say that,
I was going to jump in.
no, but please, yeah, I was waiting for you. Do you want to?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Councilor Carbone.
So thank you very much, Mayor. So I worked on this recognition committee with Mayor Lesser, John Gallivan, and Jody Latina, and it's a wonderful group of individuals who are doing a very nice thing for the town. And we have incredible people in this town, and it's such an honor to be able to celebrate them. And so I'm really looking forward to this. This is good stuff.
Thank you, Councilor Carbone, and thank you for your work. I'll mention that the town manager was also instrumental in helping us get to the point we are now, where we're going to recognize 2 individuals. We're intending to invite them to our next meeting so we can celebrate them, and this is what's wonderful about Weathersfield, is we can recognize people who are making extraordinary contributions to our town. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Deputy Mayor.
I just wanted to say how pleased I am that something so positive can sort of come across our desk, and the now mayor, but it wasn't at the time, it was Councilor Lesser, kind of came up with this idea along with some other people to celebrate ourselves and to give credit where credit's due. And although this is the beginning of some sort of a recognition awards of significant achievements of Weathersfield and Weathersfield citizenry, and I'm really proud to start this tradition. And maybe 20 years or 50 years from now, we'll look back and this is the start of it. And I think it's a great beginning. I think it can even be enlarged as we go on. This is the Spirit of Weathersfield Award and the Key to the Town of Weathersfield, and I could certainly foresee a nice celebration of our people in many different ways. So thank you for your efforts, Councilor Carbone, and the other members of the committee, and now Mayor Lesser, for bringing something positive to our government and our town. And this is I think this will be, even though it's our first meeting, I think this will be one of the nicest things we vote on in 2024. And I'm happy to do it.
Well, thank you, Deputy Mayor, and I'm most excited when we get to recognize those people in person and spread the joy and recognize them for their achievements. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item M2, Mr. Town Manager.
I move to approve the
Oh, sorry. Congratulations on the promotion.
I don't want the job.
Mr. Town Manager.
Sorry about that.
No, it's good.
Unintentional.
You can make a motion.
If you want to put it on the table, we can do it.
Put it on the table
You gotta
first.
call at me, though. I'm not gonna.
Okay, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
All right, I move to approve.
Do I have to call you? I'm just kidding.
I like protocol. I move to approve the adoption of the Weathersfield Police Union contract effective July 1, 2023 until June 30th, 2027.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Dirk. Mr. Town Manager, then we'll have council discussion.
Actually, I'm going to have Erica Robertson, our Human Resource Manager, come up and just give you all just the synopsis of what this contract entails, and we'll go from there.
Good evening, everybody. This is a 4-year contract for the police department. It is 2023 to 2027, and the major highlights really in this contract are our desire to really look at recruitment and retention issues in the police department. And to that end, we've really made big changes with our schedule. We're going from a 5-2, which is 5 days on to 2 days off, to a 4-2, which is 4 days on to 2 days off. And that really allows us to do a lot of different things that the police chief in particular is interested in. One of those being better training for our police officers. They would now get 56 hours a year instead of 24 of training, and those 56 hours would not be on overtime. Much of the overtime budget for training, much of the training really is on overtime just because of our staffing levels. The 4-2 also allows us for more flexibility in how we staff, and the more employees that we have, the better that will be. We just swore in 2 new officers this morning, or this afternoon, so we are making headway into filling those ranks. 2 new officers going to the academy in 2 days' time, I think. So, what else can I tell you? We are also making really significant changes in what we call order-ins. Order-ins are when you must come to work when the police department calls you. You don't have a choice, you must come in. Previously, that was given to officers at an overtime rate of twice, so double time. And starting in July, that will go down to 1.5 times for regular, just overtime. And that savings is about at least $25,000 a year. And the training changes that I spoke about are roughly around $40,000 a year, so those are good. And then there's just more savings that are going to come along. We've been in practice with the 4-2 since October, and we're already seeing nice reductions in overtime. It's a 4-year contract. General wage increases 3.5, 3.5, 3.25, 3. And also there's been some changes to the defined pension plan for those officers that were hired after 2006. Those changes really encourage folks to stay longer. It gives them a slightly better benefit than they had at certain demarcations, and it encourages them to work over 25 years. Right now, once they hit 25 years, it's really not kind of worth it to stay longer, but you know, it is harder to find officers, and keeping them for longer is something that we're interested in. And for that enhancement, people will be paying more into the defined benefit plan starting in 2025. So those are the basic highlights. I can try to answer any other questions that you might have.
Thank you, Erica. Councilor, questions or comments? I'm going to make a comment and a question. First of all, Erica, thank you for all your work negotiating the contract. Appreciate it. Also want to comment that I think this is a good agreement for Wethersfield, for our police officers, and for us as the town. And I really want to highlight the recruitment and retention aspect. That's a big one for all of us. It's difficult, as we all know, to recruit and retain officers, and I think this contract will help us. The question, just to clarify for everybody, I think I know the answer, but the contract begins July 1 of 2023, which is about 6 months ago. Can you explain the retroactive and how that works?
Sure. You know, officers will be paid retroactive to July 1, so that their wages and also their overtime wages would be given a retro, as we call it, and finance will be able to calculate that once this is approved, and they will receive that. So their raises go back to July 1.
Thank you, Erica. Any questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, we have a motion on the table. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. There's no ordinance and resolutions for introduction. Item O, public comment. We invite anybody from the public to come up. You have 5 minutes. Anybody would like to speak at this time? Hearing none, Item P, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Move the council into the executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year.